We welcome you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Season number 4 race from the Richmond Raceway, and we're live from Richmond, Virginia tonight for yet another Cup race. There's just 3 races to go in the regular season. This is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series live on the Ethan Trendler YouTube channel. All right, Richmond, it's race number 16 of season number 4. Just 3 races, like I said, to go before the playoffs. And we got the last short track of the regular season up tonight. All right. So we'll be live here. Cars pulling up to the racetrack here for the warm-up session. We'll be going over some of your stuff for tonight. We'll be looking at the point standings entering tonight at Richmond as well, and a whole lot more during this warm-up session. From the Richmond Raceway, we'll have the lights pretty shortly as well once the green flag gets underway for another Richmond night race. All right. Here we go. Cars on the racetrack at Richmond Raceway tonight in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. One quick second, we'll be live. All right, so of course 3 races to go before the playoffs, and we are live from Richmond, Virginia. See whoever wants to work. All right, sorry about that. We're live in Richmond here tonight. And here's the 81, Sean Hilquich, making his way through 3 and 4. Of course, Sean Hilquich had a great shot to win the Indianapolis Brickyard 400 a week ago. Unfortunately, all went away with under 15 laps to go. Got passed by Braden Huntsicker. We'll talk about Braden Huntsicker later in this race. Here's the 48 of Dylan Banks. He has 1 win this season. Of course, your defending Cup Series champion, who won in Iowa. It's coming a similar track. I guess the most similar you can get to here at Richmond. Tonight I'll be joined in the booth by Eli Franklin, Xfinity Series driver, just like at Watkins Glen. All right, so of course, welcome back to the booth, Eli. Cars are on the racetrack here in Richmond. So it's a tight playoff battle, just 3 races to go before the playoffs. It's a short track as well. I'm kind of beating and banging things we're going to see tonight.
Well, this cut line's very close. Right now, at 0 points to the cut line. Every point matters here tonight. Short track racing, we saw a real life Cup Series. Everybody's beating, banging. Everybody going for fresh tires. Tires will wear quickly at this track. And it's going to be a very tight battle here tonight, as are you going to risk taking a set of tires for more speed, or are you trying to save your tires for the end of the race and get a late caution?
So looking at our point standings entering tonight at Richmond, you got, of course, Matthew White, Cameron Chandler, both locked up into the playoffs. Matthew White can actually lock up the regular season championship tonight. Then you got Brandon Huntsicker. Plus 130, he's good. So is Miller. They can both probably lock up tonight into the next, or into the regular season. Ashton Miller is plus 98. Bryce Benson, of course, after being suspended last week at Watkins Glen, he is now plus 83. Dylan Banks, 6th place. John Butler, 8th. Trent Wilkin, then you go all the way back. Sean Hilquich is plus 13 only. And then Cole Clausen, after being involved in a crash last week at Indianapolis, he's only plus 5 now to the cut line. Haverhill only plus 5 as well. Matt Grab is tied with William Reagan for that final playoff spot. Andrew Stacy down minus 11. Payson Lindsay, Joseph Tucker minus 13, minus 21 for that playoff bubble. Entering tonight at Richmond Raceway. Here's the 7 of Matthew White. 3 wins this season. He's involved in a late race crash after leading a good amount of laps at Indianapolis a week ago. Here's the 71 of Cole Clausen, looking for some redemption tonight as he makes his way through 3 and 4. So far, Dylan Banks, top of the board, your winner at Iowa this season. Of course, like I said, very similar racetrack to this. Definitely a bit faster and less worn out. But here's the 48, making its way through turns 3 and 4. A little bit loose moment there, but he heads down the front straightaway. Here's the 9 of Benson, of course, returning to the Cup Series after his vacation from the league. He was suspended after Watkins Glen. He's got to hope that he doesn't cause anything else. He's plus 82 to the cut line, so he could lock up. I believe he can lock up the playoff spot after tonight. Should be able to, if he scores enough. Payson Lindsay just spun in the 99. Here's the 96 of Andrew Stacy, new paint scheme on the racetrack this week, Caterpillar. Looking good here for Andrew Stacy as he pulls on to the racetrack. Here's Dylan Banks, the 9 of Benton. Here is Ashton Miller, of course. Good story about Ashton Miller. He has the most top 10s of anyone this season. So he's had a really, really consistent season. Still looking for that first win. Could tonight be the day for Ashton Miller? Which here is Matthew White making his way down the front straightaway. Current regular season points leader. There is the 36 of William Reagan, of course, sits tied for the final playoff spot with Mac Grab. Here's Max DiFilippi and Trent Wilkin coming to the track as well. Here is Cole Clausen making his way down the front straightaway to the wall. He goes a little bit and he'll spin. Cars here on pit road, that's Braden Hunsicker. Still about 21 minutes to go in the warm-up session here at Richmond Raceway. As Trent Wilkin comes down the front stretch. And the 1 and 2 who will go. Of course, Trent Wilkins had a pretty decent season. He's had a lot of top 5 finishes as well. Currently sits inside the top 10 in points. Well, he goes a little bit and he'll spin. Round goes Wilkin in the 12. He is currently 11th on the board. Cars that I've won so far. Here is Cole Clausen making his way down the front stretch into 1 and 2. First, the number 71. MF Racing. All right. So, there's Matthew White. 3 more cars. There's the 09 of John Butler heading down the front stretch. Got another top 10 last week at Indianapolis. So, we'll see that. John Butler. Matthew White goes top of the board here. Back top, there is Ashton Miller and Andrew Stacy racing. Oh, Stacy going to get turned around in here in the 96. So he'll go for a bit of a spin. More cars. There is William Reagan on pit road currently. The 9 of Bryce Benson. Here comes Braden Hunsicker rolling off the pit road. There's the 79 of Ashton Miller. There's the 48 of Dylan Banks. Here's Max DiFilippi. Max DiFilippi, of course, caused an accident with Cole Clausen last week. Clausen obviously wasn't the most happy about that. See how that continues tonight. As the 18 of Maddox Beard comes onto the racetrack. His second Cup start of the season, I believe his only other start was at Fontana. And of course your winner last week, Braden Hunsicker, his 3rd win of the season at the Indianapolis Brickyard 400, ties his team at Matthew White for the most wins on the year, with both having 3. What a drive through the field it was at the end of the race. Actually got caught up in a wreck that was brought out the final caution. Absolutely drove his way through the field, didn't lose too much track position because of it. Ended up with the win, of course. Past this guy, Sean Oakwish, for it. As now Hunsicker going to go for a bit of a spin down the front stretch. There's Banks. Here comes Cameron Chandler down the front straightaway. He's had a good year. Only 1 win of the season now. Feels like he probably should have more. That win came at Bristol. Another short track. There's John Butler. There's Braden Hunsicker. And more. There's Matthew White. Down the back stretch he goes. Over to the wall goes William Reagan a little bit. He is nice slow. All right. Okay. there is Pace and Lindsay making his way down the backstretch. Ooh, we got a car crashing. That's Braden Hunsicker going around. There's Bryce Benson and Andrew Stacy. There's the Maddox Beer. There is Trent Wilkin as well. Here comes Connor Havrilla down the front straightaway and back into 1 and 2 heel. In the race, and I'm second straight week really not sure everybody is. I don't really know what's going on. Alright, here's Dylan Banks. Now second on the timing sheet. Now he goes top of the board, passes Matthew White in that 48. Here's the 99 of Pace and Lindsay. Down the backstretch, there's William Reagan in 36. He got a car spun around. I believe that's DeFilippi. Ooh, Matt Grab going for a bit of a spin. Down the front straightaway, he will go. Here comes Connor Avrilla, finished third last week at Indianapolis. Man, what a drive it was for him. Up to P3 in that race. Here comes Benton and Beard back on the racetrack. There's Matthew White in the 7, coming around the outside as well. Oh, around goes Bryce Benton. He destroys Maddox Beard. And Braden Hunsicker gets collected as well. Huge crash coming. Dylan Banks pulls off. There's Matt Grab. Right there's the 09 of John Butler. Matthew White. Kevin Chandler. Mitch Miller. And more. All right. Here is Benton back into turns 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, he will roll. All right, there is the 53 of Matt Graham as well. Here is Matthew White. There is Cameron Chandler. Win this season. It happened at Bristol. The racetrack goes Sean Hilquist here in the 81. Then you got William Reagan, the Connor Havrilla, the 77. That's Braden Hunsicker, Dylan Banks, 99 of Pace and Lindsay. So still about 13 minutes to go in this warm-up session here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, we under the lights later. This is a night race. Of course, just 3 races to go before the playoffs. Tonight at Richmond and next week in Kansas. Of course, the regular season all winds down at Daytona for the regular season finale after that. Pace and Lindsay makes his way through 1 and 2 here in the 99 car. Oh, in the wall goes William Reagan on the backstretch. Pull off. There's Dylan Banks in the 48. All right. Here comes Max DiFilippi down the front straightaway. Look at the top three, separated by about a half tenth of a second. So it is really, really close. Dylan Banks is now top of the board. Matthew White just for thousandths of a second behind. 400ths of a second behind. It was now Braden Hunsinger is loose here in the 77. Connor Asball now rolling on to the racetrack here in that 72 car. Andrew Stacy, who's Braden Hunsinger, just goes around him. Alright, so still about 11 minutes to go in this warm-up session. John Butler will pull off to that inside. Alright. There is Cameron Chandler making his way here through 1 and 2. In that 8 machine. Now down the backstretch he will go. Mac grab. Oh, we got a car spinning. There's Bryce Benton going for a bit of a slide. In the number 9 car. Oh, as Sean Hillquich goes around, so does Matt Grab at 53. He will go for a spin and he'll get hit a little bit. As they pile up back there, around goes Payson Lindsay. Into the wall goes the 87. The more cars crashing, there goes Trenton Wilkin around. More accidents happening here at Richmond. Alright. Still about 10 minutes to go in this warm-up session at Richmond Raceway tonight. Here's Matthew White in the 7. The racetrack he goes. Pushes back down and he heads down the front stretch yet again. Diving that thing back into 1 and 2. Here comes Connor Avrilla back into 1 and 2. There's Andrew Stacy up the racetrack a little bit. Down the backstretch he goes. There's Dylan Banks, the 48. There's Payson Lindsay, the 12. And Trenton Wilkin up the racetrack as well. Wilkin is up to 6th on the board. Cameron Chandler there. There's William Reagan running behind him. Chandler now 3rd on the board. William Reagan down to 13. Oh, Cameron Chandler goes around in that 8 machine. He will go for a bit of a spin.
Payson Lindsay flipping and going into 4.
Couldn't find that. I don't know where it happens. There he is back on pit road, obviously. Asbell goes around. All right. So still just about 8 minutes to go here in this warm-up session at Richmond Raceway. And Sean Hillquich. Oh, we got a crash. There's the 87 going around. There's Connor Havrill as well in the background. He will spin. So 2 cars go for a bit of a slide. Here comes the 9 of Bryce Benton. He is rolling onto the track, of course. Like we mentioned earlier, unsuspended for this race after his little show that he put on in Watkins Glen. right, 6 minutes to go in this warm-up session at Richmond Raceway. There is Dylan Banks on pit road currently. He is still, like I said, top of the board. Ooh, Ashton Miller on the wall, and he's going to take a hard shot down the back straightaway. Hard into the wall for Ashton Miller in that 79 machine. All right, so what we got in store for you tonight is 200 laps. Halfway, we're going to be at the end of lap 100. You should be going on fuel to the end, not to the end, but to the end of the halfway break. Another thing to watch out for is the iCar winners. Now, this is kind of random, but the iCar winners of the last 2 races, of course, Matthew White won at Watkins Glen, and then Braden Hunsaker won at IRP. They have won the last 2 Cup Series races because White went to victory lane at the Glen, and then, of course, at Indianapolis, Hunsaker went to victory lane. So, of course, White won at Richmond on Tuesday. So, can he complete the streak, go 3 in a row for iCar winners winning in the Cup Series? Connor Aswell, top of the. That's definitely because of wall riding.
Yeah,
No
I
way.
was just about to say, I saw him ride the wall through the point there.
Hey, Dylan.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome to the booth, Dylan. You're currently 3rd on the board, and Matthew top of you.
Yeah, track temps going down. Matthew White, he don't practice nothing but qualifying laps, so not worried about it.
As we got somebody riding the wall, that's Sean Hillfish. All right, so Dylan, because you're in here, I'll ask you a question. You're currently, of course, 6th in points, but you won here. You won at Iowa, I should say, which is a track that's, I guess you can say, a little bit similar to here. So what are your expectations for this race tonight for you guys?
It's gonna be a lot different than it is right now. It's gonna be a lot cooler. I think a lot more right front tire wear. So dirty air is gonna be a big factor, and it was bad all week in officials last week. So I think you're gonna see a lot of people trying to get that clean air. That's for sure. And hopefully we'll keep this 48 graham cracker machine out front.
All right, Dylan, well, good luck in tonight's race, of course.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go get a win for ETR tonight.
Let's do it. No bias at all there for me. But anyways, 2 cars. So is Matthew White hooks Hillquich in the 81. He'll go around. Hillquich went fastest, but obviously you know that what the reason was behind that. Here comes William Reagan down the front stretch. Oh, and now we got a car flipping. That's the 88 of Cameron Chandler on his roof. Oh my God, and he gets absolutely ran through. My goodness, horrible, horrible wreck here. There's Connor Aswell on the wall. There's the 9 of Benson. There's a car blowing up. That's Andrew Stacy. All right. Just about 3 minutes to go before qualifying here at Richmond. Up the racetrack into the wall goes Andrew Stacy. Here's that 8 of Chandler. There is the 7, that's Matthew White. Down the backstretch they go. Matt Crabb got into the wall. Cars crashing up here into the wall hard goes Dylan Banks. Oh, and now 87. Andrew Stacy spins down the backstretch. Oh, and now William Reagan getting absolutely taken out there in the background. My goodness. Like I said, still 2.5 minutes to go in this warm-up session at Richmond. Still don't understand where everybody is 2 weeks in a row. I don't understand what's going on. To the inside goes, oh, now to the wall goes Clausen. Hard into the vents he goes. Oh, William Reagan is absolutely blind down here for me. Son. Sean Hillquich up the racetrack. We got a car burning out. That's the 96. That's Andrew Stacy. Minute and 40 seconds to go here in practice. So qualifying is definitely going to be interesting, so don't mind the top three. They all wall rode to the top. Fastest overall was White, then Banks, Chandler all good, Benson as well. Qualifying should be interesting here at Richmond. And that is coming up. Nearly go around here. All right. Here's William Reagan down the backstretch. He'll roll. Final seconds of this warm-up session. Sean Hilkich right now being scored fastest, but we've really, that's not really how it's supposed to look. We see Wall Road. So don't mind the practice times. All right, checkered flag in the air. In practice, qualifying is coming up next. We got a horrible crash with Cameron Chandler. Here we go, qualifying in Richmond. Time to set the field at Richmond Raceway. All right, here we go. Car is going to be on the racetrack. It's 2 laps of qualifying like always for pole position. Here we go from the Richmond Raceway. Still can't understand where anybody is right now. As the 7 of Matthew White makes his way through 3 and 4. Here is Andrew Stacy down the front stretch. And into 1 and 2 he roll. Cameron Chandler down the back straight away he goes. In that 8 machine for Team Chevy Motor Club. Cole Clausen down the front stretch to the line. Of course, 2 laps to do it like always. Lap number 2 could be in your improvement lap. We'll have to see how it goes. Chandler so far first one over the line. White now fastest. Stacy jumps ahead of Chandler. We'll see if lap number 2 has improved. Miller now top of the board. Good lap there for the 79 of Ashton Miller. Down the back stretch he goes. Here's Matthew White making his way through 3 and 4. Hilquich now top of the board. What a great lap as Matthew White across the line.
What a lap.
Top of the board, Chandler's second. Miller is 4th. Here is Hunsaker down in the 3 and 4. Oh, he gets loose, and your winner, the Brickyard 400's going around. Braden Hunsaker go. Okay, here comes Matt Grab. There is the 50 of Haverilla. There's the 99. That's Payson Lindsay. Down into 1 and 2 goes Trenton Wilkin in the 12. Matt Grab across the line. He will roll. A little bit up the racetrack through 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Nearly to the wall. Here's Payson Lindsay. Still yet to run Bryce Benson, Dylan Banks. Some notable ones. Here comes Banks. Benson probably should be running pretty soon. Here's Lindsay across the line. Lindsay is... that's not a Butler is 11th. Grab is 7th. Still in Banks. Here is 12 of Trent Wilkin. He is 4th. Goes next to his teammate Sean Hilquich, who is 3rd. Spear down across, and he's going to come to a lap. Still yet to go. Actually, Braden Hunsaker, like I said before, spun out, so he will not be able to make a qualifying effort here. Dylan Banks, here he comes to start his lap. What kind of lap time is going to be for Banks as he heads through 1 and 2. First lap, of course, was a throwaway. He's 12th. Down the back stretch he rolls, trying to knock Matthew White off pole. Your winner at Iowa this season, similar to this racetrack. Oh, he's going to slide and go into the wall. That will hurt his time. And he's second. That would have been pole. That definitely would have been pole if he didn't have that slide. Here's Bryce Benson.
Now on track. He's going to finish lap 1. Almost a 21 flat. Good lap of lap 1.
He's 4th. What is lap 2? We'll be right back. As we welcome you back live to Richmond Raceway here tonight, this is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series live in Richmond. And we got one heck of a show in store for you tonight. 3 races to go for the playoffs. Only 18 cars. Like, I don't know what is going on. I think it's honestly because of everybody starting school. So this is probably the worst possible time to hold races, but whatever. Only 18 cars tonight. Luckily, it's just the short track, so it won't matter too much. Might make the racing a little bit better, hopefully. Of course, automatic cautions are on tonight. Here we go from Richmond. This is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series live at Richmond Raceway. Let's go over your starting grid. So, of course, Matthew White on pole once again. Another pole position. He leads all drivers ever in the Cup Series. Dylan Banks is going to be starting to his outside. Then row number 2 will consist of Bryce Benton and Cameron Chandler. Then you got Sean Hilkwich, Trenton Wilkin, Ashton Miller, Mac Grab, Lindsey Asbell are going to get top 10 to get the rest of this field rolling across the left side of your screen here at Richmond Raceway. All right. Just about ready to roll off here at Richmond. Matthew White, your pole sitter, of course, going to come check pit road speed this first time around. 3 races to go for the playoffs. Let's real quick take a look at your playoff grid entering tonight. So close all around. Tie for that last spot between Matt Crab and William Reagan. That is going to be one heck of a battle throughout the rest of this playoffs. Sun is setting. We'll be in the lights pretty shortly as well here in Richmond. Matthew White going to be starting on pole yet again. He'll take that trip down pit road, single file, usually in the lead. He's kind of used to that at this point, I would say. All right. As they roll back onto the racetrack. Here from Richmond, Virginia, this is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series live at Richmond Raceway. 2 to go to the green flag. Now we're going to come to 1 to go. They'll go to salute the fans as well. .200 laps. 150 miles, halfway break at the end of lap 100. Beautiful Richmond Raceway. We are back in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series at Richmond. Of course, we had an off week, off day yesterday. No on-track action here at Richmond, but we are back tonight. And this is the 16th Cup race of the season. happens at Richmond Raceway. 3 races to go for the playoffs tonight at Richmond, next week at Kansas, and then, of course, the Daytona regular season finale. Next week, hopefully, we should have well over 20 cars, like we usually do. Don't understand what's going on these last 2 weeks. But we're going to go green anyways. Matthew White, Dylan Banks ready to set the field to the green flag here at Richmond. Pace car is in. 2 Cup Series champions going to lead the field to green. We are racing at Richmond Raceway. Terrible restart in the inside lane. Terrible start for Matthew White. Banks is going to be out to the lead as they head back into 1 and 2. Up the racetrack goes Chandler side by side, and he got a car spinning again, or already. Matt Grab into the wall. No caution yet. He's going to get it fired back. Caution's out. Caution is out already. Matt Grab. Don't know how he got spun around. We'll have to take a look. My goodness. Already a caution out here at Richmond. Not really what we wanted to say. So, down to the 1 to go. Oh, yeah, I think Pace and Lindsay may have went up the racetrack. Door slam Bastion Miller, who came into Matt Grab. I think that's the whole chain reaction. We'll ride along with 1 car. I think we're going to ride along here with Pace and Lindsay. Yeah, again, causes yet another crash. It makes an aggressive move 3 wide on the bottom. Oh yeah, slides up, hits at Miller, and then just taps around Matt Grab. Around goes the driver up to 53 on lap 3. Or lap 1 twice. My goodness. From the blimp. Yeah, just a little bit too over. He just slid way up the racetrack there. And, of course, door slam Miller, who had nowhere to go, into the quarter panel of Matt Grab. Unfortunate early on here at Richmond Raceway.
It shouldn't be night ending for Matt Grab, but it will hurt him tonight as he came up tonight on the cut line. No room for arrow, and that will help William Reagan out tonight. As tonight, of 18 cars, 1 car will go out tonight with no points. So, but Matt Grab and William Reagan have a great opportunity to get points here tonight and open up the gap on the cut line.
Yeah, Matt Grab, William Reagan currently is only running 17th. So Matt Grab, of course, even if he did DNF, he would get saved by the small field size tonight. Due to not many other drivers being able to score points or whatever. And we're going to come to the choose this time by. Already a caution out. Matt, of course, Dylan Banks got a great restart of the inside lane. That was the same thing that happened to the iCar initial start. The inside lane, your leader, gets a terrible jump on the initial start of the race. We'll see where Dylan Banks chooses. Maybe he'll choose outside. Or was that just a freak accident twice in a row for both races? Still a long ways to go as Banks is going to choose low. Matthew Wood's going to go low as well. That'll go the front row to Cameron Chandler. Kind of surprised by that. Maybe Matthew just got such a terrible start there that it wouldn't have mattered. All right, here we go. Dylan Banks going to be restarting here with the lead on the inside. Cameron Chandler now to his outside. Both these two have wins this season, both on short tracks, 1 win apiece. Both very, very solid, these short tracks as well. We're going to come back to green on lap 6, still 195 to go in this race. So not even close to being anywhere close to halfway even. Pace car is in. Let's try this again. Banks, Chandler, front row to lap 6. We are back underway in Richmond. Go to restart for Dylan Banks now on the inside lane. He is clear. Side by side, through 1 and 2 goes Matthew White on the inside of the gate of Cameron Chandler. Get down the back straightaway, side by side for second place. Chandler on the racetrack here at Banks. Still, though, with the lead. Matthew White trying to work the bottom, but Cameron Chandler's got momentum around the outside lane, and he's trying to challenge maybe Dylan Banks for the race lead. He is there, up to the outside. Here we go, battle for the lead in Richmond. Ooh, he gets caught a little bit. In the wall goes Sean Hilquich. There is Connor Haverhill pulling out on Pace and Lindsay to the inside as well. Oh, Wilkins spins. He will save it. We should stay green. no caution. Caution's out. I don't know why the caution's out. That is a horrible call by iRacing. He had that saved. That is terrible. What were they doing? I don't know why, but I don't understand why iRacing threw the caution. That was, and it was while everyone was passed. That was a terrible caution by iRacing, obviously. My goodness, that was awful. This is the reason we have avoided auto cautions for so long. All right. So we're just going to come to degree, and it can be abbreviated caution here. Don't really feel like riding around here for a long time again. All right, so nobody, actually Matt Grab going to come down pit road here, try to repair some damage. So fortunately, it's been a pretty chaotic start to the race so far. Down the backstretch rolls your leader, Dylan Banks. He has led every lap so far. Started in second on the outside, but of course Matthew White got that terrible launch. Could not get going. Gonna come to one green and the shoes this time. All right, here we go. Banks now goes inside. Chandler going to choose the outside lane, so Matthew White, I think, chose wrong last time when he chose bottom inside from second. We'll restart this time. It'll be on lap 12. Let's try this again. Hopefully we get a bit of a long run in. All right. Here we go, once again from Richmond Raceway. Let's try this again. Back underway on lap 12 at Richmond. Good start by Dylan Banks again. He's clear on Cameron Chandler. Chandler now trying to get clear on Matthew White. Around the outside he goes. He will clear that 7. May even start the battle for the race lead. He's got a good run down this back straightaway. Where is he going to take it? To the bumper of Banks he will go. Arches him up the racetrack versus slightly as they head down the front stretch yet again from Richmond. Back in the 1-2 now. Chandler going to go outside, maybe choose in a bit of a different line. Obviously, you don't want to wear your tires too much. He's got a good run. He's going to maybe pull it inside into the wall. A couple cars down here. Connor Aswell hitting it pretty decently. Got to be careful of that early on in this race. And here we go, battle for the lead. Chandler to the inside of Banks. Matthew White looking for a position as well back there in the 7. Banks around the outside trying to retake the lead. Side by side for the top spot here at Richmond Raceway. Chandler is still working low. Matthew White way up the racetrack back there as well. Banks still keeping it on his outside. Side by side. Still even down the back straightaway. Great battle for the race lead. Chandler still the inside there on Dylan Banks. Ooh, they're going to slide around a little bit. Heading down the front stretch yet again at the short track at Richmond. Still side by side, heading down the back stretch yet again. Chandler evens to his door, but Banks still has got momentum around the outside to try to even maybe clear him again. And here goes Matthew White, almost 3 wide bottom. Thinks better of it, though. Banks going to re-clear that 8. John Butler, I don't know what just happened to him. He's back on the racetrack now. Something weird happens. As now for second, here's Matthew White trying to re-pressure Cameron Chandler. Chandler, though, not giving up on the lead for Dylan Banks. As they head down the backstretch, here is Bryce Benton to the battle as well, making a 4-car battle possibly for the race lead. White all over the back bumper, that aid of Chandler. Chandler, the momentum down the back. Straight away, he's loose. Big bobble there for Chandler. Matthew White still pressuring on his rear bumper. Lap 20 to go. Dylan Banks, he is out front, of course, but he's not without pressure behind him. 3 cars. Chandler, White, and Benton all over his back bumper. Racetrack goes Cameron Chandler here looking for momentum. Still cannot find a way around Dylan Banks. Maybe looking for a bit of a battle back here. It's mostly single file side by side now. John Butler to the inside of Maddox Beer. That is a battle for 16th place. As these two head back into 1 and 2. Butler's going to clear Maddox Beer. He is up to 16th. Sean Hopish having already a strong run whip. The racetrack, here goes Cameron Chandler. You're going to have good momentum down this backstretch, but you're going to wear your tires out quicker by doing that. Lights come on once again. Up the racetrack goes Chandler. Ooh, he gets a little bit tight there. Matthew White could have pounced, but he's got a huge run down the front straightaway, but nowhere to take it through 1 and 2. Still keeps us to the bumper of Banks.
Lap time's falling quickly. Start of the race, so starting 21 flats, almost down to 22-second brackets. Tires really falling off so far early in this race.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have tire save if you want to win this one, especially Richmond, definitely known for the longer runs. Of course, early in the race, we didn't really have that 2 caution flags back-to-back as Max Filippi trying to work his way to the inside of Andrew Stacy for 12th. He did not having a bad run at all. It's at the top 15. Towards the wall a little bit goes Stacy. This battle for position continues. As Matthew White working inside here and Cameron Chandler for 2nd place. Side by side, Chandler just going to let him go. Here's Benton. Oh, he gets blocked by the native Chandler. That is his teammate as they head back into 3 and 4. Of course, Bryce Benton wasn't too nice to his teammates last time he was out at Watkins Glen. Of course, right before his suspension. Matthew White now to 2nd. He'll try to run down Dylan Banks. Outside coming now is that 99 of Payson Lindsay. Hunsaker started towards the back. He is currently 9th. Lindsay up the racetrack yet again. Battling here with Ashton Miller for position. Oh, they make contact here through 1 and 2. Miller, of course, who got door slammed by Lindsay, which turned around Matt Grab early in the race. Maybe not so happy about that moment. Wants to let Payson Lindsay know about that. And he is clear. Lindsay up to 7th. Here is the 77 of Hunsaker now working his way to the inside of Miller. Braden Hunsaker is going to take 8th away. He is driving through the field like he did a week ago in Indy. He will now pressure Payson Lindsay. To the bumper of Lindsay, who will go as they will head down the back straightaway yet again here at Richmond Raceway. Battle for the lead here is Matthew White trying to look outside on Dylan Banks. Third place going on here is Bryce Benton to the inside of that 8 of Cameron Chandler. These 2 teammates at Team Chevy Motor Club. Door to door here, Connor Havrola and Payson Lindsay as well. But the side-by-side battle for 3rd is what we're going to focus on. Hillquich is as well trying to get into this battle. Oh, to the wall a little bit goes Cameron Chandler. Oh, way up the racetrack goes the 9. He'll slide up nearly to the door of that 8 car of Chandler. They both go up the track. Here comes Hillquich on the bottom. Hillquich now to the inside of Benton. 4th place. Trying to hold position up front. Currently runs in 3rd, but he's got 2 cars side by side on his bumper now. Hillquich makes his way to the rear bumper of that 8 car of Chandler. Chandler goes up the racetrack ahead of Bryce Benton. Into the wall hard goes the 9. That was pretty good contact. How much will it affect his race car? Matthew White as well trying to battle for the lead. And Hillquich gonna just drive around Cameron Chandler. Up to 3rd place he goes. My goodness, what a run Sean Hillquich is having so far tonight. Side by side now, for position, there is Benton going to fall back in line behind Cameron Chandler. All of the back bumper of your leader goes Matthew White, like he has been. Up front, the leader really hasn't been able to, the 2nd place car really hasn't been able to try to pass Dylan Banks, but they really are battling throughout the rest of this field. Amarillo battling with Ashton Miller for 8th place. Miller inside here. Cole Clausen having a really good day in 10th. Amarillo nearly in the wall a little bit. Of course, he's fighting for his playoff life, just inside the top 12. Same thing with Cole Clausen. He enters tonight less than 10 points above, my God, above the playoff cut line. Currently running for 11th place, side by side, Max DiFilippi. 96 there of Andrew Stacy for a position back here. DiFilippi nearly in the wall. As Reagan gonna turn Andrew Stacy, the 96 gonna save it. What a save by Stacy. I don't know what Reagan was doing there. Just nearly got him turned around. How much Andrew Stacy not gonna appreciate that one? He'll lead to his door. Turns 3 and 4. It looks like he's just gonna let him go. But maybe looking for some payback, hopefully not. Still only 39 laps of this race. Butler gets to the bumper of his teammate Reagan. 2 Johnson Motorsports cars running here. To the outside now goes Reagan, making another aggressive move on Andrew Stacy. Stacy so far keeping his calm here. Kind of surprised. Butler now to the outside of Andrew Stacy. Battle for the lead, still about 2 tenths of a second between Dylan Banks and Matthew White. Kind of stable. So that's maybe 10 or so laps. Amarillo there is 77. Hunsaker already up into 7th place, battling now with Payson Lindsay. Bryce Benton, of course, hit the wall a couple of times. He is now 4th. Hillquich all the way up to 3rd. He is starting to run down Matthew White and his teammate Dylan Banks. Matthew White now looking outside on the 48. Of course, Stoddard on pole hasn't led a lap so far tonight. Position now, here is Benton, looks inside of Chandler for a moment. Goes back single file though, back into 1 and 2. Hillquich is closing to the rear bumper of Matthew White and Dylan Banks. This battle could be on pretty soon. But how much tire saving is Hillquich doing this fast early on in the race? We've still got over 50 laps to go to the halfway break. You don't want to burn up your stuff too much, especially early on into this race. Only 44 laps in. Matthew White currently in 2nd. Hillquich, like I said, currently running in 3rd. Kind of a bit of a train back here with Hunsaker now pressuring Payson Lindsay. Oh, to the wall goes Bryce Benton. That was pretty good contact again. The 2nd time he's done that this race. Hunsaker maybe looking to the inside here, and Payson Lindsay. 6th place battle going on there. Lindsay really having a good day inside the top 10. He needs to get top 10 stage points and finish somewhere inside the top 10 or top 5 to have a chance in the playoffs these next 2 weeks. Hunsaker got to his bumper. Nearly sent him up the racetrack. And now here comes Hunsaker to the inside of Lindsay for 6th place. Racetrack here side by side down the back straightaway. Still trying to keep it even to his door. There's Hunsaker. Low side, and he will clear. Payson Lindsay for 6th place up front.
Sean Hillquist closing in very quickly and Matthew White. Now Sean Hillquist closer to Matthew White than Matthew White is to Dylan Banks now.
Yeah, Banks is pulled away from the 7 and the 81 now. Way up the racetrack here, nearly to the wall. Hillquist on the bottom. Matthew White should get good momentum to re-clear that 81. White trying a bit of a different line there. Got a pretty good run down the front straightaway, back into 1 and 2. But how much tire wear is that going to give you?
Lap times are falling really bad, and you saw in the real life race, people start pitting about halfway. I don't know tonight that some drive, but there's a possibility that people might be maybe pitting here in the next couple laps to halfway, flip it, and run like 2 seconds faster every lap. I don't know if that's a strategy anybody has thought of tonight, but that could be one.
Oh, in the wall!
Maybe near the back.
Cameron Chandler got in the wall pretty decently there. Saw a bunch of sparks, and he's in the wall again. My
Something
goodness.
could be wrong with that engine.
Cameron Chandler entered tonight below Matthew White in the regular season championship. Matthew can lock it up tonight if he finishes, 65 points ahead of Chandler at night's end. That's a little bit loose there as Hunsaker to his inside once again. Chandler in again!
18th on pit road.
Maddox Beard comes to pit. He was running last anyways. We're over halfway in this first half here at Richmond. We'll see if any of our leaders elect to take that strategy. Could be interesting. Oh, Braden Hunsaker really, really loose. Now Matthew White, or I should say Bryce Benton blocking all the way down low on Payson Lindsay. I mean, 2 of his teammates already, Payson Lindsay now and Cameron Chandler, he's gotten to some thing, just like at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago. Doesn't really want to recreate what happened there, though, I'm assuming. Max Beard going 3 laps down. I don't know where he is. I believe he's might.
I think. Yeah, it says he's disconnected.
Side by side, Connor Aswell to the inside of Cole Clausen. 12 or 11. Tyrella also in this battle. He's the final driver with stage points as Aswell clear on Clausen. Now going to go on Haverilla to the inside. He goes really, really aggressively for 10th place. Connor Aswell is driving up through the field. He is up the 10th with pressure. Haverilla up the racetrack. Now here comes Cole Clausen to the inside. Haverilla gets a little bit loose. He'll fight back down low though. We've seen drivers be able to put pretty good passes together. Dirty Air doesn't look like it's horrible tonight so far. Now Clausen over the back bumper. Haverilla will move to the inside. And he'll take the spot away.
Lindsay got for 6th.
Look up more up front. Here's Lindsay to the inside of Benton. Benton almost going to fall back maybe to 7th. Hunsaker just got to 5th. Past Bryce Benton, and here's, oh, Benton in the wall! He is sideways! He'll save it, though. He has been struggling as of late. Tires really wearing out on Benton. Now, Ashton Miller to his bumper. Andrew Stacy just going pit road. So we'll see if anybody elects to take that strategy, like we said. Oh, Stacy going to slide nearly up to Ashton Miller. Stacy now on fresh tires. He should just drive around these guys. Bumper of Benton, he will go. He shoves that 9 up the racetrack. Down the backstretch in the 3 and 4 yet again. Look at those new tires just drive around Bryce Benson. Andrew Stacy. Battle more up front now. It's still Sean Hillquist on the bumper of Matthew White, and there's still your leader, Dylan Banks, has led the most laps so far tonight. And I can even see it, how much slower they're running. Just right along with Dylan Banks and listen. Just sounds like he's going so much easier, so much slower down into the corners, especially off corner exit. Dylan has absolutely dominated so far tonight. There is Matthew White currently running in second. Thanks to leader Hillquist now starting to battle back there. Andrew Stacy, of course, on fresher tires than everybody else. He'll be up here shortly. To the outside, look at him just drive around your leaders. We saw the same exact thing in real life, of course, this last weekend. The Cup Series was here at Richmond. Everybody, your leaders just able to, I should say the lap down cars who pitted just able to drive around the leaders on older tires. It's just how much tires mean here at Richmond. Andrew Stacy looking to go one lap down here. He is, look at how much that thing is flying compared to Dylan Banks. It is crazy. It's like he's a whole different class.
Yeah, a whole second faster every lap. So hopefully, the only problem with the strategy is you get a caution and you lose a set of tires for the night, and you have to go off strategy just to get back on with the leaders. As now he's one lap down and flying.
Of course, get 4 sets of tires tonight in the pits. Bryce Benton is all the way back to 9th. Now Connor Aswell pressuring for 10th. He was inside the top 3 at one point, remember, in this run. And Aswell going to get to his bumper. Almost pushes him the racetrack. He's now in jeopardy after falling outside the top 10. Absolutely crazy. Aswell pressuring him, battle for 9th. Connor Aswell, his last few laps have been really, really clicking off nicely. And he's in position for stage points. Here's Trent Wilkin currently running in 8th, solidly. Aswell back to bumper up the 9th. He is there, all over the back bumper of Bryce Benson. Still yet to see any of your leaders come down pit road. Of course, fuel is not an issue. You can make to the end of the stage on that, but will drivers elect to take that alternate strategy? Outside now goes Connor Asbell. We'll have good momentum down this back straightaway. Where is he going to take it? Oh, he'll go to the bumper. Oh, Benton in the wall. He is almost crashing. Connor Asbell was loose as well. Bryce Benton made a terrible block and nearly wrecked both. Luckily, he saves it. We stay green. Now he's working to the inside here. Cole Clausen, who hit the wall a little bit. My God. Bryce Benton. I mean, you would think after Watkins Glen, even his suspension at Indy, you would think better of this kind of thing. But so far, he has been one of the most aggressive drivers on track. Back to 11th place. Here's Miller, currently running in 7th. Cameron Chandler to the outside here on Payson Lindsay. They're side by side down the back straightaway. Lindsay trying to take this spot away. Chandler is in 5th. He's had an okay day. Not really what he wants, though, especially on the longer run. Dylan Banks has been dominated in this race so far. 1.6 second lead over Matthew White on lap 71. 30 to go to the halfway break. Lindsay inside on Chandler. Battle for 5th place. Chandler, good run around the outside. He will re-clear Payson Lindsay back into 1 and 2. Here's Braden Hunsaker up to 4th place right now. Sean Hilgich still all over the back bumper of Matthew White for the 2nd place. And Bryce, or I should say Dylan Banks, now has a 2-second lead over White. Once again, will we start to see your leaders pit? That's the question.
Andrew Stacy's already halfway through the field. He's catching up on Bryce Benson, trying to get by for not 11th place, but the 11th place running to Bryce Benson. Still about 15 seconds back from the leader, getting himself back 1 lap down. With still 25 to go. Plenty of time for Andrew Stacy to 1 lap himself, but 2 have a chance as Connor Haswell is down pit road.
Here comes the 50. He finished 3rd last week at Indianapolis. He's another one of these drivers to take that alternate strategy. Probably 4 for Goodyear tires to the ends here.
And there goes to 87. 87 on pit road.
Max DiFilippi in jeopardy of being a lap, so he'll come down pit road now. Now Butler now too far behind your, not too far ahead of your leader, Dylan Banks. Your defending series champion putting on an absolute clinic so far. 77 laps into Richmond. He has led nearly all of them. Dominant run so far for Dylan Banks in the first half. But remember, we saw last season Matthew White dominate the first half, and then with about maybe 5 to go to the stage, he got caught up in a crash under a very long green flag run. That pretty much ended his win chances. He finished outside the top 5. Spun out trying to pass a lap car. Here's Matthew currently running in 2nd. Hilgich is still all over his back bumper. And Banks continues the stretch up the lead. 2.5 seconds now. Hilgich to the bumper of Matthew White, pressuring him for the 2nd place. The racetrack goes Hilgich in that 81 through 1 and 2.
Payson Lindsay passed Cameron Chandler for 5th after while the 50 was trying to went 3 wide and made Cameron Chandler back out. Made Payson Lindsay had opportunity, got now up to 5th.
There's fresh tires, Connor Havrilla. Of course, he'll be flying through the field now as Hilgich trying to still look inside on Matthew White here for 2nd place. They're back 3 seconds on the leader. Matthew, or Dylan Banks, is just having an absolute day so far tonight. Hilgich up the racetrack yet again. Back into 1 and 2 he'll roll. Dylan Banks has now lapped John Butler. He is trying to catch up to others. Matt Crabb and Bryce Benson is involved in this series. Back 17 seconds of the leader. He could possibly be put a lap down here with the insane pace that Dylan Banks has. 3.6 seconds out of the lead. Here we go, battle for 2nd. Matthew White starting to struggle. He did that on the longer runs in the 2nd half at Richmond last season, and now Hilgich aggressively to the inside of White. They almost made contact for the race for the 2nd place position. Side by side down the front straightaway. And back into 1 and 2. Ooh, Hilgich up the racetrack big time. Havrilla, the lap car on fresh tires, splits them 3 wide. Still side by side down the back stretch in the 3 and 4. Hilgich is pressuring him on the bottom, trying to clear him, driving to the inside. Matthew in the wall ever so slightly. Still not giving a lead. Now he will give. He won't try to make a crossover. Hilgich to 2nd. It's DTR 1-2 now with Dylan Banks out front, and Hilgich running in P2. John Butler, he has really not been too good tonight. There's Dylan Banks down the backstretch again. You get a whole group of cars who could be lapped. It's only coming to 15 to go to the halfway break. Braxton has been struggling so much. He's in the wall again. Same thing with Trent and Wilkin. Well, everyone just trying to stay on the lead lap back here. We saw the same thing at Richmond a season ago. First half had a very long green flag run. The leader lapped up quickly throughout the field. That was Matthew White. White, of course, now back to third place. Felipe on the bumper of Hilkwich. To the inside he goes. And back into 1 and 2. John Butler. Oh, DeFilippi, what is he doing? He's gonna crash. Oh my goodness. He will save it. We stay green. My God. Part of so many accidents this last 2 weeks. Kind of getting ridiculous at this point. As Dylan Banks is now lapped. Dylan Banks, like, with all that going on, he is now lapped up to Bryce Benton. Benton's now lapped down. Reagan side by side with Miller, who's falling off, and Banks is 5 seconds ahead of your leader, or second place car, Hilkwich. Miller's really struggling. He's got an issue. He's now going a lap down. Reagan now right ahead of Banks. To 11 to go to the stage. Here comes Dylan Banks, the inside of William Reagan. Drivers back here would have loved to see that caution. They would have gotten saved by being lapped. Now Reagan is 1 lap down. Dylan Banks is so fast. 5 seconds out of the lead already. Currently in the free pass position is William Reagan. Matt Grab now right ahead. Reagan is going to be hoping, praying to God that Matt Grab does not get lapped here. As Trent Wilkin was just on pit road, he is now taking service. I'm surprised more drivers back here haven't done that strategy. It definitely is going to work out for you. Notice we got more cars up here. Comes Benton, here comes Miller. So they are starting to take it. I think a little bit too late though. It's only now 9 to go to the halfway break.
Yeah, a little too late for the strategy. I think someone's got the pick because it's probably blown right front tires for how much they're pushing early on. At Richmond, it's very easy on a very long run to blow your right front tire. I think some of these guys, these past maybe like 10, 15 laps I've been pitting, I don't really do for strategy, but just because of blown tires.
Yeah, long run here at Richmond Raceway, 92 laps to this race. We had 2 early cautions. First 10 laps, green never sits. So maybe about an 80 lap green flag run. Richmond is definitely known for the long green flag runs. It's no different tonight. Matt Grab now being in jeopardy of being lapped here.
Andrew Stacy up to 11. Started the strategy before pitting. Was basically, I think it was around 15th. Now only 1 spot away from earning stage points. So the strategy so far for Andrew Stacy's paying off. Pitted about halfway, around lap 50. Now he's past John Butler. Now trying to get down William Reagan with about 6 to go in the stage. About a whole straightaway behind him. We'll see if he can catch him as he's about 4 tenths quicker right now.
That is for the free pass position currently. Andrew Stacy and 36 of William Reagan. But now Matt Grab has pressure from Dylan Banks here with 5 to go to the stage. May put that 53 a lap down. Ooh, he's sliding. Dylan Banks, 6 seconds out now. He has just been dominating so far tonight. The defending Cup Series champion has 1 win this season. Happened at Iowa, which is a similar racetrack to this. We know he's very, very good in these style of tracks. All right, 3 to go to the halfway break here at Richmond. Dylan Banks looking for 10 stage points here, and of course a playoff point to go along with it. As he has dominated the first half. Here's Cole Clausen inside of the 09 of John Butler. Butler has really, really been struggling. He might go 2 laps down here. That 09 is not having the pace he wants. 1 to go in the stage for Dylan Banks. We're gonna wait until I think the top 3 cross over the line. It's gonna take way too long to get on. They head down the back straightaway here. Dylan Banks, all of the back, actually we're gonna actually wait for, I think, the top 8, because that's the cars in the lead lap. Banks is gonna lap here the 09, but he's gonna come to the green and white checkered flag to win the stage at Richmond's. Second, 7 seconds back, and just a clinic for Dylan Banks will be his teammate Hilquich. Third over the line gonna be Matthew White. 4th, Braden Hunsaker. 5th, Payson Lindsay really gets points with the 99. 6th place, Connor Asbell. He's going to beat Cameron Chandler, who finishes 7th in stage. Coming home 8th. Final car here on the lead lap going to be Cole Clausen. Caution is out. Halfway break here at Richmond Raceway. What a dominant first half for Dylan Banks. Should be interesting here on pit road. I don't think... Benson's 2 laps down, Miller's 2 laps down, Wilkins 2 laps down. It's really makes things interesting here. And here we go. Leader is pitting.
He can take his time on pit road. How much time he has in 2nd place on pit road. It has a very big gap. He can take his time.
That's his teammate, Sean Hilquich. I haven't seen Dylan Banks this dominant since the last season at Martinsville, where he led a ton of laps. Of course, he had 3 wins last year with the championship. 1 win already this season. You're defending series champion. Trying to make it 2. Here we go. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for all your leaders on pit road. Dylan Banks easily will roll off in 1st. 2nd, I think, should be Sean Hilquich. Yes, it will. 3rd, going to be Matthew White. 4th, Hunsaker. Nothing changes there. 5th, again, Payson Lindsay. Nothing changes there. 6th, the 8th, Chandler. 7th, Connor Asbell. 8th, going to be Cole Clausen here. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with all these lap cars. It should be interesting. I don't know how this is all going to work out.
It might be best for these lap cars maybe to stay out, because how the chances of us going green rest is pretty high. And you could technically feel like Andrew Stacy, at this point on very old tires, now taking the waiver round probably gonna be right outside the top 10. If you can last maybe 10, 15 laps and then pit, you'll still get a good advantage, maybe by half a second a lap on these cars. And I think how dominant Dylan Banks has been in the start. I feel like some of these cars like Matthew might consider the strategy in this final stage, 100 laps to make it through this final one, and maybe splitting it halfway to make it to where Dylan Banks maybe has to think of making a decision of pit.
Yeah, of course, Richmond is such a big strategy racetrack. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe some similar stuff as we come to the choose here. The low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, high, low. All right. So these cars now go to 1 lap down. Benton, 79 and Miller, Andrew Stacy, he's on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is Connor Havrilla. They're going to need cautions here pretty soon. They would love an early yellow. Try to wave themselves back around again. All right. We're restarting here over halfway on lap 106. Dylan Banks has been dominating. He's got his teammate, though, Sean Hilquich, to his outside. Here we go. Long run first half. Let's see what the second half brings. We're back underway in Richmond. Good restart once again for Dylan Banks. Now Matthew White to the inside here on Sean Hilquich. He gets a great restart, trying to take 2nd place away here. Hilquich, though, fighting back around the outside. Side by side down the back straightaway. White is almost clear of him through 3 and 4. And he will get clear on the 81. Hilquich back to 3rd. Matthew White now will try to pressure our leader Dylan Banks, but Hilquich is going to be pressuring him. To the inside he goes. Oh, they almost made contact for 2nd place. Dylan Banks, or not Dylan Banks, Braden Hunsaker. Sorry to scare you that maybe there was an issue with the leader. There wasn't. I don't know why I said Dylan Banks. It's Braden Hunsaker. Their names don't even sound alike. He's now side by side here with Cameron Chandler. Had a bit of an issue as they head back into 3 and 4. Seems like definitely with the shorter runs, Matthew White is able to stay there on Dylan Banks, maybe even challenge him for the race lead. To the inside he goes, trying to get to his quarter panel. Wants to do this as quickly as possible because he knows Banks is so good on the longer runs. White is there, back into 3 and 4. White still trying to keep it to his quarter panel as he moves back down inside. Battle for the race lead at Richmond. Matthew White, Dylan Banks, 2 series champions. Side by side, back into 3 and 4, they will roll. Banks doing everything he can to try to clear that 7 on the outside. But Matthew White still keeping it down low and pressuring him. Matthew White, of course, started on a pole. He's the all-time wins leader in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series with 17. Dylan Banks, your defending Cup champion. Oh, they almost make contact up the racetrack. They both go. Banks gonna slide. Matthew White still trying to keep it to his quarter panel. To the bumper he goes. Back inside. White on the low side. They make contact again. Door banging through 3 and 4. Banks, though, preferred lane around the outside. Whoa! He's gonna nearly spin. They both save it. Matthew White's gonna clear for the lead. Don't think Dylan Banks is going to be too happy about that one. How will he respond? Nearly both your leaders go around. Luckily, everybody able to hold on to it for now. White now out front.
Sean Hillquist and Braden Hunsaker slowly coming in after Benson making contact lead. Now it's under a second for Braden Hunsaker and Sean Hillquist try to get inside the top for the battle for the lead.
Yeah, Hunsaker now for 3rd. On Hillquist, he could be there in a moment. Back at a 1 and 2 they'll go. Banks, I know he's very good in the long run, but he definitely wants to try to get the lead here back from Matthew White as soon as possible. Such hard racing there on those tires. Definitely not going to be the best for them. Here we go for 3rd place. Hunsaker to the outside of Hillquist. He's just going to easily drive around him for 3rd. Hasn't been the greatest few laps for ETR. They lost the lead and now back to 4th for Hillquist after finishing 1-2 in the stage. Matthew, of course, slid up the racetrack a few more times than he probably should have. Got to the bumper, to the door, I should say, of Dylan Banks. Almost turned him around. But we know that 7 car, very good on the short run. That 48 tonight has been very good in the long run. We'll see how it goes. Connor Aswell having a phenomenal night in 6th place. It's exactly the type of finish he needs tonight. Runs, of course, well outside the playoffs. Has 1 win this season at Fontana. It's been pretty bad ever since. .5 of a second now the gap for the lead between Matthew White and Dylan Banks. White, honestly, has been pulling away a little bit. starting to catch Andrew Stacy here. Of course, stayed out. So, of course, these are some of your cars that stayed out on older tires back here. Actually, they weren't too old. They're definitely not new or anything. Here's Matthew White trying to catch Stacy. Cameron Chandler out of the bumper of Hillquich, battling for 4th place. To the inside, that 8 machine will go. Side by side now down the backstretch again.
Andrew Stacy pitting here. I think that's a smart call. Right about to go lap down. Have a little bit of advantage on your tires here. I'm just trying to hope for a caution. But now pitting, I think he'll stay out the rest of the race. Everybody else decides to start pitting. Andrew Stacy will probably be close to the lead because how much time he's going to make up here if everybody decides to pit in about 20 or 30 laps, which they probably should about the halfway point.
Yeah, we haven't had a natural caution in over 100 laps. Of course, the halfway break. Battle still going on here for a position. That is for 4th place between Cameron Chandler and Sean Hillquich. Hillquich and Banks definitely look like longer run cars. We'll see if Banks can reel in Matthew White in a little bit.
Of course, you got to save your stuff, but last time we ran a little bit short of run because of the early caution. We got people blowing tires at the end of the stage. Maybe Matthew White's pushing really hard here. Maybe he decides to hit halfway on Dylan Banks. Could be saving a lot of tire here and try to make it all the way.
We'll see. Definitely, Richmond obviously is definitely the track that involves the most strategy. That's for sure. Second now, the gap between White and Banks, who of course Banks had a 7-second lead from F front at the stage. He really pulled away those last maybe 20 or so laps on the very long run. Dylan Banks and Matthew White, though, 2 of the most respected drivers in the league, 2 of the best as well. Both Cup Series champions. Both have really good resumes, especially Matthew White. Been here since the very beginning, and honestly, I can't really recall too many races he's missed, especially in the Cup Series. I mean, without suspension, I don't think he's missed a single race ever without suspension. He's made every single NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series race, I believe, without suspension, which is just absolutely phenomenal for Matthew White. Of course, he's been suspended, I think, 2 or 3 times in his career, 1 in Season 1, 1 in Season 3. Other than that, he's made every start. It's just mind-blowing. Daytona 500 winner, Southern 500 winner, Brickyard 400 winner, Cup Series champion. Still looking for that Coca-Cola 600, Charlotte 600, which he will look now for in Season 5. Go to lap Max DeFilippi here. Goes 2 laps down. We'll move out of the way for leader Dylan Banks, or 2nd place Dylan Banks. Banks now at the racetrack here. I think that's definitely going to hurt him. Max DeFilippi is on the bottom there. Don't know if that was intentional by Banks. Still, this battle between Sean Hillquich and Cameron Chandler is raging on for 4th place. Oh, Hillquich, he is loose. Chandler now pressuring him to the outside he goes. Side by side down the backstretch in the 3 and 4. One is who they had. Chandler is clear on Sean Hillquich. Hillquich back to 5th. Still having a good solid top 5 day. Not the same pace he had in the first half, though. He finished 2nd in the stage. Dylan Banks 9/10 of a second back on your race leader, Matthew White. who's been up front the most in the second half so far. And of course, Dylan Banks dominated the first half. White has been pretty good here in the second half. They of course had a bit of a moment there between the two. Luckily, they both saved it, and they both run 1 and 2. Got to talk about the drive for Braden Hunsinger. Started outside the top 15, and he's up in 3rd place, having a really solid day in that 77 after winning the Brickyard 400 last week. Battle back here. Sean Hilkich is now getting unlapped by Andrew Stacy, who's on fresh tires. Banks has been a little up the racetrack, and he's been getting good runs down the straightaways. Honestly surprised that this run is going on. He hasn't really closed up too much to Matthew White. This was around the time where he started to pull away, I think. Oh! In the wall goes Andrew Stacy on the backstretch. That could have been bad. It's going to kind of affect Chandler here and Hilkich. Banks is pitting. Kind of a shocker here. Dylan Banks coming to pit road. I honestly thought he was, like Eli said, he was going to stay out all the way, and Matthew was going to be the one to pit. This is honestly shocking.
Now, if you're one of the leaders, so O'Connor as well, one of these people that like on the cut line, do you risk your tires here? Save your tires and possibly go to the end, because that's going to be a long drive back for Dylan Banks. I like the strategy, but opportunities for Connor as well. Matthew widening them as Sean Hilkich now pit road.
2 ETR cars come to pit. Maybe a team strategy here. We'll see how it works. Here comes Hilkich in that 81 machine. Banks, he has rolled back on the track. Of course, fresh tires here. He'll be fast, but how fast will he be? Is Hilkich as well gonna take tires and should be rolling off pretty shortly? Hilkich kind of an extended stop, it looks like. Now he rolls off quickly. Alright. Miller's still staying out, so is Bryce Benton. Back here, your leader, Matthew White, still, of course, leading, and still is staying out. We'll see if he elects to come pit road here. Obviously, if he pits, he's going to get jumped by Dylan Banks, but he would have the speed towards the end of the run to re-catch him.
I think if you're Matthew White here, I think you stay out a little longer. I think you stay out maybe another 10, 15 laps. So you will be behind Dylan Banks, but you'll have about 20 lap pressure tires. Will probably be a second a lap, which I think that's the strategy I think Matthew White needs to go on. So you can't afford to pit and only have like 3 or 4 lap pressure tires. You're not going to, you lose so much, you got to at least go long here.
Now here is Banks. He is, of course, driving his way through everybody around Connor Asbell. He'll be probably to your leader, Matthew White, in the next few laps or so. He is just on the rails compared to everyone else on those fresh tires. It's so crazy how it goes here at Richmond. They easily drive around Cameron Chandler like he's just sitting still. What Dylan Banks definitely doesn't want here is a caution as Hunsinger going to make things hard. He's in front of him for a little bit. That's Matthew White's teammate. I don't think there's anything
Connor
intentional
Asbell on pit road.
So another one of your leaders comes to pit. That is Showtime Motorsports machine. There is the 50 of Connor Havrilla as well pitting. And Bryce Benson. He's on pit road. Benson not really having the day he needed. Was a lap down. How much is Matthew White pushing on those tires? That is the question. Now, Asbell is finishing his service. He will roll off pit road. Here comes Benton to his pit box now. John Butler pitting. He's had a pretty abysmal day. say the least. Here's Banks. Inside now on that 96 of Andrew Stacy. And now Banks going to be close to Matthew White pretty soon. Try to go unlap himself. Lap 150 is underway. Just 51 to go here at Richmond, but a lot left to be decided. Banks going to unlap himself around Matthew White. Two cars that have led the most laps so far tonight. Now, how fast can that 48 go? And when will that 7 come to pit? If all, I would assume he would. Strategy definitely going to get interesting as this run continues to go on. There's Benson on fresh tires around the 8 of Chandler. Caution right here would change absolutely everything, and it would not be good for drivers like Dylan Banks. Dylan Banks needs this to run green for his strategy to work. In all honesty, I think like the best possible situation for Dylan is Matthew pits here, and everybody else pits, and then he gets the lead, and then a few laps into the run, maybe there's then a caution, which then sends everybody back to pit road, and then they're on equal tires with him in the lead. I think that's how that would all work out for the best situation for him. I mean, it's weird to ask for a caution while you're leading, but obviously if you have cars that are so much quicker behind you on fresher tires later in the race, then it would definitely be needed. Matthew White, though, still trying to run consistent fast lap times. Pulling away from Braden Hudson and his teammate behind him, so definitely doing what he needs to do. Here at Richmond.
And Payson Lindsay coming to pit road from 4th.
All right. And William Reagan as well. Here comes that 99 of Lindsay having a really good day. And inside the top 10 all day long. William Reagan has had an okay day. Still looking for more points. We'll see how it all shapes up to the end of this race. Here's Payson. He's getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Side by side now, Max DiFilippi and Braden Hunsicker. Max DiFilippi is on fresh tires. There's Hilkich. He's also on fresh tires. 3 wide. Hunsicker backs out of it. Doesn't want to really be part of that. Oh, he gets in the wall a little bit there. Now Cameron Chandler could be pressuring him pretty soon. Here is Reagan rolling off the pits. Same thing for the 99 of Payson Lindsay. Where is Dylan Banks? There he is. Really hasn't pulled away an insane amount from Matthew White.
Yeah, I'd say Matthew White, if he does decide to pit, probably need to come in the next couple laps, I'd say probably in the next 5 laps, so he can actually use the tire advantage. If he goes probably any longer than lap 170, by the time he gets fresh tires, he'd be running out of laps to catch him.
Yeah. But we'll see how that strategy works out. You never know. Matthew White has been caught for speeding a lot of times in important moments when he was leading late in the race, so think back to Gateway, even the Season 2 Cup Series Championship race. That's another big example. So, he's definitely not the easiest driver on pit road.
As we got Val for 2nd, Braden Hunsinger and Cameron Chandler.
Hunsicker's been falling off as of late. Chandler now to his bumper. Side by side, down the back stretch they go. White's got to think about coming to pit road pretty soon if he wants to make this whole strategy work. I mean, if he stays out, I don't know how that all works out. It's going to be interesting. Banks has been running faster, but doesn't he have enough to catch him? He's in some traffic.
Right now, he's about 4/10. Dylan Banks about 4/10 quicker with all this traffic. Matthew White's in between there, so there is a chance that you can see Matthew White stay out. But one, you got to worry about will the tires last all the way, and two, when Dylan Banks gets in clean out, how much faster is he actually compared to Matthew White? As it's still about 4/10 of a second gap each lap.
Yeah, of course. Dylan, as the tires begin to wear out a little bit more, the advantage isn't going to be as big either. So that's something to keep in mind of. Grab way up the racetrack here in that 53, almost into the wall. The marbles he goes. He falls back. Cars on fresh tires trying to swarm around him. This is not for a position to the inside of Benson. He goes there.
At this point, Matthew White's hoping for a caution all the way until probably Dylan Banks passes him. I think at this point, maybe he may has another like 3 or 4 laps. But after that, I feel like he's stuck with staying out the rest of the race, which is I would kind of agree with the strategy too, because Dylan Banks has been dominating all day. Matthew White did have the lead, but he knew at some point Dylan Banks, with how good his long run pace is, Dylan Banks was going to catch him.
Banks is about 13 seconds behind Matthew right now, so if he pitted, he would maybe come out, what? I don't even know. It'd be definitely a long way back.
It'll probably be close to a lap down, if not a lap down. But it'll probably be a whole second faster each lap.
Yeah, so it would get close, but he has to hit it now. And he doesn't. Banks 12.7 seconds back, so he is running quicker, but I mean, it's not like lights out quicker. Well, he's running a second faster. Of course, the traffic is now pacing Lindsay. It's going to make things hard for him.
So Matthew White has been staying his tires very well, as Dylan Banks' past lap is only a tenth quicker with all his traffic. Maybe Matthew White's hoping for a lot of lap traffic to slow down. Kind of crazy tonight that top 5 cars are the only cars in the lead lap. 6th place car will have an amazing day, a lap down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do remember, Asbel, Vilkich, Lindsay, Grab, they all pitted. And we go Stacy. So, that is something to keep in mind. As now Asbel's going to lap himself around Matthew White here. There's some pressure on the leader here. Could make things hard. Matthew thought he was going to come here. Doesn't. Coming on lap 170, 31 to go.
I think he's made his mind now. He's staying out the rest of the day. As Matthew White is still only like 3/10 slower than Dylan Banks, which at this point, if he can keep about 3 tenths and below, it's going to be a very interesting finish. And Dylan Banks was a 22.1 and Matthew White was a 22.4. So not as much as the games Dylan Banks probably wants right now. But Matthew White, let's see. Let's let Connor Aswell by here.
And battle with the 72. He's at the racetrack again, Connor is. This is going to kind of make things interesting here because they're slowing each other down. Most importantly, slowing Matthew down, but now Aswell's clear. 11 seconds the gap between him and Matthew White and Dylan Banks. Where is Banks? Here's Chandler. There's the 48. He's almost caught Braden Hunsinger. He's almost caught Cameron Chandler, but still your leader, 7 of White, pretty far out in front. Matthew would have to make a big mistake here because Dylan Banks is really not closing up the gap whatsoever. And he's now in a battle here with Cameron Chandler and Braden Hunsinger. Comes to the bumper of that 77 to third.
Dylan Banks needs to gain some more time, but Matthew White needs to completely fall off because there's past about 3 laps, it's been 2 to 3 tenths, which is not enough for Dylan Banks to catch him.
Banks still has enough to easily drive around Hunsinger, but not enough to completely run down the 7. Only 26 to go. out of Hunsaker, 4 position. Or not 4 position, I'm sorry. That's now still 2 laps down, 11th place. He's not at the day he wanted. Not whatsoever for him. I think Ashton Miller as well, running in 14. I don't know right now if Matthew White would lock up the regular season title. He needs to exit, what is it? Exit plus 65 on Cameron Chandler to have that locked up.
Speaking of Cameron Chandler, Dylan Banks is within very close to passing Cameron Chandler for second, which would make it Matthew White on very old tires versus Dylan Banks with fresh tires. But it looks like his tires are starting to fall off pretty well too, as Matthew White's still having amazing lap times for what his tires have left.
Yeah, Dylan probably going to be regretting this strategy after tonight. Dominant in the first half, looks untouchable. Now in the second half, struggling to get around Chandler here for second. And leads seconds back in the lead as well. Good to go side by side. Down the back stretch again. Oh, contact! Ever so slightly between Banks and Chandler. 20 to go in Richmond. Still side by side for second. They head onto the back stretch yet again. Cameron Chandler doing everything he can on the outside lane to keep up and hold position to Dylan Banks. Banks clear for second. Never know. We haven't talked about this. Of course, we've been clean and green ever since the halfway break. Our last incident caution was, what, 180 laps ago at this point?
Yeah, that's like maybe that's
I mean, you never know what could happen. 18 to go. 17 to go now for Matthew White. Also getting just driven around by the lap cars with pressure tires. There's Havrilla on the outside of him. There is second place Banks. What a great night still, though, for Dylan Banks. Absolutely dominated the first half. Fortunately for him, lost the lead in the second half. It's been on a different strategy, really not anything better ever since. Still at 9 seconds back on your leader, Matthew White. Got a car slow. That's Sean Hillquich. He's really slow all of a sudden. I don't really know what's going on here. Looks like he might be back to base. Must have hit the wall or something. He has big damage. Matthew White, though, trying to make it easy around this lap track. First 2 wins of the year for Matthew White. 13 now to go here. Came race 2 and race 3 of the season. It took him about 3.5 calendar months again to get another Cup Series win, which is at Watkins Glen 2 months ago. Looking for win number 4 of the year to become the winningest driver in the Cup Series this season. We'll have to see if he officially locks up the regular season championship after this as well. Needs to exit plus 65 or better on Cameron Chandler for the regular season title. Dylan Banks still at 21 seconds back.
Connor Haswell on fresh tires, catching up to Braden Huntsman on very old tires before. What a night from Connor Haswell.
Ooh, look at this mess, 3 wide. Benson trying to split the middle, William Reagan down there as well. The 96 Fender Stacy involved. Here's Benton inside of Reagan in the 36. That is not 4th position. Ooh, they cross each other over. Actually, that is 4th position. That's for 10th place.
Connor Haswell now on the back Hudson here for 4th.
Man, what a day Connor Aswell is having tonight. Inside the top 5, looking for 4th. Gotta give a shout out to Cole Clausen. I think he's staying out. He's currently running in 6th in this very long green flag run. To the outside, here goes Connor Aswell. Rounds. Oh, the 77. That could have been an accident. That was close. There's your leader, White. Now trying to grab another lap down. It's very similar to the lead now, 8.7 seconds on what Dylan Banks had over Matthew White at the stage. There's a different strategy for Banks.
Caution's out!
Caution! What is it? What has happened? I don't know.
What was that caution? 80. Someone said in the chat 81.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, him and Bryce Benson made contact.
Oh, Hillquist.
Bryce Benson, I don't know. That shouldn't be a caution, I don't think.
Why was that a caution, iRacing? Why was that a yellow? Right along with the 81.
I mean, he was like halfway sideways, so he wasn't like stopped for flat.
Yeah, iRacing.
Very interesting. White.
They don't understand what iRacing is doing there. Why that was a yellow. All right. That changes. That could change everything. Here we go. Your leaders are pitting. Dylan Banks just had to let somebody go, I think. But here we go. Leaders are on pit road now. My goodness, this kind of just changes everything. Here we go to pit. 5 to go. Caution's down for the first time in nearly 100 laps. For something dumb. Because iRacing, I don't understand that yellow call at all. From the sim.
Well, Matthew White shouldn't have a problem calling pit lows to be last. He had a big old gap from Dylan Banks.
2 tires.
First.
That's 2 tires, I think. Was that 2 tires?
That was a pretty quick stop.
I think that was. I don't know.
That was 2 tires.
Did Dylan take 2 tires? Let's take a. I'm gonna take a look
Dylan
real quick.
I think Dylan. Yeah, Dylan did take 2 tires. It looked like. Yeah, just right sides went up 2 tires.
Wow. Did Cameron
That's
Chandler?
That's a call by Matthew White.
Cameron Chandler as well took 2. Okay. Oh, Dylan giving the bummer to White. White roughed him up a little bit there. Remember earlier in the race, earlier in this half. What will happen now? See, I really don't understand why that was a caution, though. I mean, this is the issue with iRacing cautions. They're so inconsistent. Obviously, that was none of us throwing a caution. It was just iRacing, for some reason, putting out the yellow. We'll see if Grab, Reagan, Stacy, Benson all stay out. No, they don't. I'm kind of surprised by that. Reagan gets to stay out, I believe. Stacy, I think he's staying out. Benson's staying out. Grab doesn't, but he had the free pass, I think. All right. So it'll be definitely 2 laps to go for the restart.
Yeah, Cameron Chandler took 2 tires also.
Here we go, choose. Benson, or I should say, White goes low. Same thing with Banks. That'll give the front row to Cameron Chandler here. Kind of shocked the 7 went low. All right, here we go. It's 2 laps to go. Caution comes out during the longest run of the race. Over 90 laps that run. And we got over 2 laps to go. Green, white, checkered finish. Matthew White, Cameron Chandler, first car in 4 fresh Goodyear tires. I think is Huntsicker. But course, 2 tires for the first 3 cars. Here we go in Richmond. 2 laps to go to decide it. White Chandler, front row. We are back to green. Not a bad restart for Matthew White on the inside lane. He's clearing the lead on, believe on Chandler. The 8th, though, big send back into 1 and 2. Banks on the bottom, though, and Chandler as they head down this back straightaway. For second, that's allowing the 7 of Matthew White to pull away. Banks still pressuring that 8 of Chandler for P2. White flag in the air one more time around for Matthew White. Still for P2. This 48 to the inside of the 8 machine. But up front, it's Matthew White down the back straightaway one more time. Car in the back crashing, that was Asbell. Through 3 and 4, he will see the checkered flag for his 4th win of the season. Matthew White wins Richmond. 2nd, Chandler. 3rd, Banks. And Connor Asbell gonna come home in 8th. I believe he's gonna crash, but he'll bring it to the line. Matthew White wins Richmond. His first Richmond win, and he will burn it down. Career win 18 for the driver of the 7. Season 1 Cup Series champion. We'll see if this officially locks up the regular season championship as well. Oh, Dylan Banks. I don't know why he did that. Usually wouldn't see Dylan doing that kind of thing, so obviously he's not happy with Matthew White. But the 7 goes to victory lane tonight here in Richmond. That will do it. All right, really quick, we are going to see how the regular season championship lines up. Of course, Matthew White getting the win tonight. Realistically, he is probably going to win the regular season title, but mathematically, we're going to see in a minute. He has to exit plus 65 on Cameron Chandler. So White, of course, gained 29 points tonight. Chandler only gained officially 20, I believe, because he didn't finish that well on the stage. Oh, and it's 2 points separating. Oh, so it'll technically go to Kansas, but it's going to be have to must score a ton of points for Cameron Chandler. 2 points now behind Matthew White. Or, no, I should say 63 points behind Matthew White. It was 2 points that could have won Matthew White the regular season championship, but will carry over to Kansas. And it will still be mathematically involved here. All right, post-race interviews are coming up. White gets career win 18. Obviously, he doesn't like interviews, so he will not be here for an interview. He's very scared.
We'll say on the cut line, coming tonight, Matt Grab and William Rager were tied at 0. After tonight, Matt Grab and William Rager finished 9th and 10th. So going to next week, still a very close battle, and one race could change it as we go, I think, to Kansas next week.
Matt Grab is now +1 over Reagan. Lindsay had a great night. He is only about 4 points back on the playoff cut line. About 10 more back as Andrew Stacey. Connor Aswell gained a bunch of spots tonight. Other drivers falling back. Connor Aswell gained 3 spots in the points after a great day here tonight. All right, so I don't think we're going to have any interviews between Chandler and White. They're currently arguing with themselves. But anyways, coming up next, got to be Dylan Banks. Dylan Banks, dominant first half, but you'll finish ultimately P3 on an alternate strategy there. So, of course, caution came out there late in the race for something that probably shouldn't have been a yellow, but you still, unfortunately, do lose the position there back to 3rd. But it didn't look like you're too happy with Matthew White. So what was going on there between you two?
I mean, he straight almost hooked me 2 or 3 times on the straightaway. pinching the hell out of me on the straights, which I get it's hard racing, but he almost hooks me going down the straightaway. I have to save it back out of it and save it. He just goes on his little driving Miss Daisy to the finish. It's a bullshit win. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm not happy with him, and I'm gonna let him know I'm not happy with him. If he wants to race like that, he's gonna end catch fence deep every race. So if he wants to start it, I'll end it.
So, but ultimately, moving besides that, you still had a really good day in tonight's race.
It won't get enough. The win is what I wanted at the end of the day. We didn't get it, but it is what it is. Just gonna go next race and race him the same way he races me.
All right, Dylan. Well, of course, unfortunately, sorry about those late race issues with Matthew White through this race. He led 111 laps, most laps led in the day, won the stage, really good points day. Heading to Kansas, and we'll see you then next week.
All right, buddy.
Coming up next, going to be Pace and Lindsay came on P5 tonight. Pace and Lindsay, a top 5. You guys needed this tonight. You believe we didn't count the 0Xs yet, but it doesn't really matter. But I believe you're going to be 4 or so points. You do actually get the 0X counted to as getting 0X. So you're going to be 4 or 5 points below the playoff cut line tonight, where you entered. Let me check real quick. You entered a minus 13, so a really good day. What are kind of your takeaways from your top 5 finish tonight?
Yeah, we had a really good long run speed in the car. I feel like that's kind of been the story over the season. We've had a lot of long run speed. We just lost way too much time on the short run to be able to run those fast guys down like Matthew and Dylan. But yeah, overall, a really good day for us. We got 5th in the stage, so we got 5 stage points there, got the 0x point, and then got 5th in the race after that late yellow. So honestly, for the way I did that pit strategy there in stage 2, I'm really happy with the P5 finish. We'll see what we can do next week.
Of course, 2 races to go before the playoffs. Kansas and Daytona. Of course, you have a win at Daytona. You won the regular season finale a season ago. And of course, Kansas you've been pretty decent at as well. So, do you think it's possible here, sitting currently 14th in points, to make these playoffs these next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think if we just maximize stage points like we did this week, next week at Kansas, and maybe squeak out a top 10 finish, we can get above the cut line and then just try to survive at Daytona.
All right, Payson. Well, still, of course, nice job on the run tonight. Top 5 finish, exactly what you needed, putting you in a pretty good situation overall. And we'll head to, of course, you head next week to Kansas Speedway. So we'll see you then, where you try to get yourself into an even better situation in the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, coming up next, still continuing with post-race interviews here at Richmond Raceway. Next up, going to be Cole Clausen, came on with a very solid P6 finish. Cole Clausen, great day for you guys. What a rebound as well. You had 0X in the race. You finished, let me see, you finished 8th in the stage, 6th in the race, top 10s all around. Great day. Great day in the points as well. You're now, of course, P10 in the points. You're now about maybe 12 or so above the playoff cut line. You gained a bit on that as well. Just overall, take me through your great day here at Richmond Raceway, a top 10 on the short track.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at saving tires here, so I just kind of spent the majority of the race saving tires there, and especially on that last run, because I remember last year I pitted during like halfway in one of the stages, and it didn't go too well for me, so I just kind of had that veteran experience and decided to not do that like what a lot of guys did, and I feel like it benefited me. So. Yeah, the caution at first I didn't really like it, and then I still would have finished 6th either way. So, yeah, it's a pretty good day for me though. You know, we got a few stage points, and guys like Havrilla, who I really got to battle with in these playoffs, struggled in tonight's race. So honestly, pretty happy about my run tonight, but going to Kansas next week, one of my best tracks, and then Daytona, which anything can happen there. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Cole Clausen. So of course you're gonna enter Kansas plus 12 to the playoff cut line. How much more of a relief is it gonna be? You gaining about 10 points on the playoff cut line after tonight?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge relief. I mean, it's still not exactly where I would like to be, but it's a lot better than, this race went a lot better than I thought it was gonna go because Richmond is one of my worst tracks. I think I finished like 14th here last year, or last season, but yeah, just a great run from our 71 Minnesota State Fair Ford Mustang. So hopefully we can go Kansas next week and have something like there. Like, I don't know what I'm saying, but hopefully we can get a run like what happened in the season 2 championship race there.
All right, Cole Clausen. We'll have fun going to your championship-winning track from 2 seasons ago at Kansas Speedway, and we'll see you there next week.
Yes, sir. Hashtag fire Max DiFilippi.
Wow. Okay. Coming up next, gonna be Connor Aswell. He finishes 8th. Connor Aswell, I know you guys unfortunately almost spun out there in the end, but you'll still finish 8th place. That's a top 10 finish for you guys. Are in top 5 majority of the day. You gained 3 spots in the points as well, and now kind of are in a real not really. You're about like maybe 25 or so points below the playoff cut line, I think, at this point. But overall, take me through your good day.
I don't really know. I showed up 15 minutes left in practice because I was playing Minecraft before it, and no barely any practice. I was like on a good lap. I think I was 13th on the board, so I wasn't too stressed, and I was like, it'll probably just be another race, try to finish decent. First couple laps, we had back-to-back cautions, I believe. Then Stacy, I think I braked a little early. I will say myself, but also I just don't know. He kind of ran into me, got me up the track, and lost. I went back to 14th. That whole rest of the run, I gained 7 positions. I was really good at keeping the car on the bottom lane and getting it rotated. So finished P7 stage 1. Then going into stage 2, I saw both Sean and Dylan going to pit road. So I was like, all right, I got to do something. I went in. Instead of taking 4, I took right sides only. The killer move. That was such a great move by me. Got me up to 4th, and then the caution came out and ruined it all. So I mean, I'll take 8th, but yeah, it's the start of hopefully getting into the playoffs.
So it's still kind of a bit of a long road ahead for the playoffs. But do you still think it's possible? Sitting what now? About let me actually take a look real quick. You're about. If I can actually read. About 25 below.
Anything's possible. I mean, glory to God, yeah, everything's possible. So I'm gonna go into next week, which I believe is Kansas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He doesn't even know. Okay, I'm gonna go into there. I've had speed there before. I remember the first time I raced there, I had a lot of speed. So who knows? Maybe finish 15th, maybe finish 10th, 5th. I don't really know yet. But I know we got that, then Daytona, which Daytona, I've gotten very close there, but got turned coming to the tribal. So yeah.
All right, Connor. Well, still nice job on the race tonight for you guys. Top 10 finish. Well needed as well. Top 10 finish and well needed. Great run overall with great speed in the race car. So we'll see you next week in Kansas Speedway.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, coming next, gonna be Sean Hilquich, finished in 7th. Sean Hilquich, in the first half of this race, you guys finished 2nd in the stage, had really good speed. Unfortunately, in the second half, all the ETR cars looked like they kind of took a step back. Ultimately, you guys will finish in 7th. Still a top 10 finish. Not bad at all for you guys, but just take me through some of the struggles there in the second half after being so good there in the first half.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be good here. I even said it last week, and I said the one thing I have to not do is put myself in the wall, and that's exactly what I did halfway through there. I didn't think in the second half that I had saved enough, so when I saw Dylan pull off, I kind of thought that might be the strategy to go with. So I pulled off, and yeah, then like 5 laps later, I was just trying to get around. Like I think it was Stacy, and then you know, these cars are so sensitive. You pull the wheel a little bit to the right and you're sliding. So killed the right front, and then I was just plowing from there. And then about 10 to go, I hit the wall again, and then that's when I spun the nine. I didn't mean to spin the nine, but it was just bad day gone worse.
So, of course, we head to next week at Kansas Speedway. So, just 2 races to go before the playoffs. Still overall a good points day. You are now, again, a spot in the points. You're up to 8th place in the standings. You're pretty good above the playoff cut line, about plus 25, plus 24, I believe, over the playoffs. So, do you think that's enough to hold on between Kansas and Daytona?
Honestly, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just thinking about winning these races. I just want to get a win because I feel like if I'm getting myself in position to win, I'll be getting enough points, and that's just why I race these. Just want to win races, and if I feel like I can do that, I showed enough speed like for myself today. Just another dumb mistake by myself.
All right, Sean. Well, still nice job on the run tonight, finishing in the top 10, and we'll see you next week in Kansas.
Thank you.
Next, going to be William Reagan. William Reagan, not a bad day overall for you guys. Going to be still a top 10 finish in 10th place. Points are still very close. You're separated now 13th in points, 1 point behind Matt Grab. He, of course, finished 1 spot ahead of you, so nothing really changes there except 1 point. So give me your thoughts overall on that with 2 races to go before the playoffs.
Yeah, me and Mac ran, I think, like that right next to each other this entire race. He had a better strategy than me on that second half, and he didn't pit at all, which I thought would work. It didn't. I never run Richmond. I've never run Richmond strategy before, so it was just kind of throwing a Hail Mary to see if I can get Matt Grab, but didn't work out. I had a couple run-ins with a couple people tonight that were blocking a little too much, and that's just a problem I've had in this league. Facing Lindsay last week, Bryce Bitten blocking me all the way down to the pit wall tonight. It's just I'm ready to start punting people. It's lucky I didn't cause a caution tonight.
So, of course, we had next 2 races, Kansas and Daytona. Do you think those are strong tracks for you to try to perform to get into a playoff situation here in these last 2 races?
I'm stronger on the intermediate tracks. I think I can run top 10 there again, maybe borderline top 5, like 6th or 7th, but I don't know. We'll see. And Daytona's Daytona. That can be anyone's race. My goal is just to survive that, maybe get some stage points, and just hope for the best. But I feel like I'm in a solid position going into these final 2 races against Mac.
All right, William. Well, still nice job on the finish tonight, and we'll see you next week from Kansas Speedway. We'll be right back in about 30 seconds here in Richmond Raceway. Post-race coverage will continue next. All right, welcome back live to Richmond Raceway. Still continuing post-race coverage. Coming up next for post-race interviews is going to be Bryce Benton. He came home in 12th. Bryce Benton, not the day you guys are looking for tonight. Going to be P12 in Richmond today. So it looks like early on, of course, you're gonna actually fall to now. Unfortunately, sixth in the points. Dylan Banks will jump you guys. So it looked like early in the race you had good speed, and then in that first half you fell off. You went a lap down as well, and then really never recovered after that. So what were your struggles tonight?
Yeah, it was mainly dirty air. I was behind Cameron for a lot of that. Actually, pretty much all like the first like quarter of the race. I was behind him, and then yeah, in that dirty air, I couldn't save tires, and I got reminded why I get so aggressive to get the clean air. Always, because it's just so much easier to save tires in the clean air, and yeah, in that dirty air, it was just super tough to save tires. I don't know how bad the dirty air was for some other people. I don't know if a lot of people really experienced it as bad as I was, but for some reason I feel like I always just really struggle in the dirty air. So I mean, yeah, it was mainly that, and also we got a random meatball flag late in the first stage. I just hit a wall and then it gave me a meatball flag. Granted, I did hit the wall multiple times before that, but I mean I don't know why it's a meatball flag. I don't know if I had much repairs when I went to pit road. But yeah, that sent us like 2 laps down, and then um, yeah, I mean we had a decent recovery drive, I guess. I mean we were able to get to the top 10 for a little bit, and yeah, we're fighting William Reagan. I was pretty aggressive to him, so I will say sorry for it, but I also don't really think I did much wrong there, because I was just trying to fight for the top 10. I was just trying to fight for my position. I know some of the blocks I did were a little diabolical, but that's I feel like it's just racing. But yeah, and then I got turned by the 81, which caused the late race yellow, and then I didn't quite make the green flag because I was in the back and I took the wave around. So then I kind of just got stuck in 12th, and we finished 12th. So not really the day we wanted. It was just really a struggle today, but I don't think Richmond's one of my great tracks, at least in the next gen. I think any other car I'm really good at Richmond, just not the next gen for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean we'll see how we do in Kansas.
All right, Bryce. Well, still nice job on the run tonight. Sorry, you guys unfortunately didn't have the speed overall. Finished in 12th, and we'll see you next week from Kansas Speedway.
Yep.
Of course, Benton falls in at 6th in points after being 3rd in points just a few. Yeah, my God, a few weeks ago. Of course, his suspension, his penalty, and now tonight did not help. Coming up next, going to be Ashton Miller. He finished in 13th tonight. Ashton Miller, not really the day to remember for you guys. P13 finish, obviously. Your top 10 streak will die as well. And now Matthew White will tie you on top 10s, unfortunately for you. Just ultimately taking through your struggles in tonight.
Yeah, just boring day for us. We tried making the best we can, but we just couldn't do anything. We couldn't get the 79 car up to the top 5, top 10, like at all. And then just the tires, they weren't gonna hold us. They weren't holding us up, and yeah, it sucks, but we're gonna have to learn for this going into Kansas. Richmond wasn't one of my best tracks, but oh well. I'm a little upset after today. I feel like we could have done better, but I'm gonna try to keep my head up going into Kansas.
All right, Ashton. So you currently sit, where is it? P4 in the points. Dylan Banks, I know it technically doesn't matter, but it's kind of like a fun battle here. 4th and 5th in the regular season points. It's about 10 points between you and Dylan, 9 points between you and Dylan Banks. Are you going to be able to hold them off, do you think, in these next few races?
If he doesn't run up the track and try wrecking us, and yeah, but I feel like today he was just being a little bit too aggressive in my opinion. And then when he's trying to not like run people hard, it was just a little bit weird. But we'll walk off of this a little bit disappointed, but I think we can do something better in Kansas.
All right, Ashton. Well, nice job still in the run tonight, and we'll see you in Kansas Speedway next week.
Thank you.
Coming up next, final interview of the night, going to be Max DiFilippi. Max DiFilippi. Not the day you guys really were looking for it. Early in the race, you had okay speed, but you ultimately will finish 4 laps down. So take me through some of the struggles in one of your first Cup races that you've done lately.
Yeah, I feel like we had a pretty good car. We were just riding, and then it was all good plan. We pitted, went a lap down, and then was gonna go get a lap back, and the 09 blinked and then came off the wall, and it ultimately shot me back across the track, and that was the wreck that you saw. So I don't know. And then from there on, it was just kind of loose, and then we had multiple just wrong timely cautions, even though there was a couple, and it just set us back. And I burned up the stuff pretty quick. So sorry to the 81 car who got involved in that at the end there, but that's about it on our day.
All right, so we head to Kansas next week in the Xfinity Series, which of course that's the series you're full time in. What can we really expect from you there?
I think the call is to get a lot of stage points. I'm gonna be up front, I hope, and if there's a caution end of stage, we're probably not gonna pit, but it just depends on how it goes. We're just mainly focused on points for the whole team of SLR with Zane Ramon and everything, so that's about it. I think I'm running the Cup race there too.
All right, Max. Well, still nice job on the run tonight, and we'll see you in Kansas for both Cup and Xfinity next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. All right. What a day in Richmond tonight. Ultimately, very it was decently entertaining. It was a good, entertaining strategy race if you're into that. Not a bad race all around as well. So Eli Tomlin, or I don't know why I just called you Eli Tomlin. Eli Franklin, sorry. Ultimately, what are your thoughts on this one tonight after it's all said and done?
Well, great race overall. A lot of strategy involved tonight. Matthew White ended with a great call there at the end to stay out and not pit with Dylan Banks. And it looked like it was going to be a very straightforward win for Matthew White, about 8-second lead. And all of a sudden, boom, caution comes out, about 5 to go. Have to come down. Made a very good call, 2 tires, which everybody else behind took 2 tires, which I was surprised. I think more surprised Matthew White taking 2 tires as the leader, about a 3-second lead going to pit road. A great call, Matthew White, able to stay out in front, able to hold off the win. Was a great race. Next week should be a very interesting race at Kansas. Multi-groove track, a lot of passing going to be happening, and should be a great one next week at Kansas.
We got a packed schedule next week for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx League at Kansas Speedway. And you don't want to miss all of it. So, of course, first of all, next Tuesday is iCar at Kansas. Wednesday's Xfinity. Thursday's the Cup Series. And possibly even Friday for lobbies. So, 4 days maybe of action next week. 3 at Kansas Speedway, 1 for lobbies. So that'll do it tonight. Playoff battle, it's close. Still 1 point separates Mac Rabb and William Reagan for that final playoff spot. Matthew White was literally 2 points away from locking up the regular season championship tonight over Cameron Chandler. Unluckily for him, he won't be able to do that tonight, but most likely, if he scores like a couple points, he'll do that next week in Kansas Speedway. So that'll do it tonight. We hope you enjoyed it, and on behalf of all team owners, commentators, drivers, officials, everybody involved making this league what it is. We'll see you next week from Kansas Speedway starting on Tuesday night for iCar. So, good night from Richmond, Virginia.